What's going on, everybody? Wait for it here. And I just thought I would talk about what happened over the weekend with Vidcon 2017. And apparently, Sargon of Akkad got called out by Anita Sarkeesian at her panel at Vidcon. And Sargon of Akkad and several other people were sitting in the front row and a few rows back. And Anita recognized Sargon and called him names and called him garbage human. I thought it was so funny that this panel was about harassment and she harassed him at the panel. Like, I don't think that's actually irony, but I'm going to misuse it and say it was ironic because it's about as close as we can get to irony, isn't it? At least in this situation. But apparently Anita decided that wasn't enough. She wrote about the events, that there's actual video footage of what she said at the panel, and she went and wrote an article about it, which I'm going to read to you today, just because the joys. Alright. So it says, on Vidcon, harassment and garbage humans. She wrote it earlier today, and it says, to kick off the Women Online panel at Vidcon last Thursday, the moderator posed the question, why do I still have to talk about harassment of women? I replied, because I think one of my biggest harassers is sitting in the front row. He showed up with several others. Together, his group took up the two front rows of the panel. The presence was plainly not, as one of them later said in an, quote, apology video he posted to Twitter, to give us a little chance we never gave them, and to hear us out, but was instead to intimidate me and put me on edge. They will no doubt plead innocent and act shocked at what was characterized as an outrageousness of such allegations. This, too, is part of their strategy, gaslighting, acting in a way intended to encourage me and their other targets to doubt ourselves and wonder if all of this isn't just in our heads. But to anyone who examines the pattern of behavior with clear eyes, the intentions of their actions are undeniably apparent. So she's insinuating, right off the bat here, that they had some sort of intention of harassing her just by their presence. Like, what is this? Because someone makes a video about your ideas and criticizes what you say, doesn't mean they have any kind of motive to verbally harass you or harm you in any way. You refused to discuss these things with Sargon. On numerous occasions, he's asked for you to discuss them, Anita. And you just don't. You don't have an argument. So you've chosen to go with, just ignoring it. And then you attack him at the front of a panel, and you throw off the mood of all those other girls there that wanted to just talk about the important things of the panel. And you threw it all off just because you have, for lack of a better word, beef with Sargon of Akkad and his content that he's created about your ideas. Like, so stupid. But we're not done. Alright, let's continue. Feminist frequency, man. Anita. Alright. Carl is a man who literally profits from harassing me and other women. He makes over $5,000 a month on Patreon for creating YouTube videos that mock, insult, and discredit myself and other women online. And he's not alone. He is one of several YouTubers who profit from the cottage industry of online harassment and anti-feminism. Together, these people have millions of followers who are regularly encouraged by the videos and tweets of these individuals to harass me and other women who make videos daring to assert the basic humanity of women, people of color, trans folks, and members of other marginalized groups. I don't think I've seen any of these people talk negatively of people of color, trans folks, or women. Like, specific women, yes, because of their bad ideas, like you, Anita. Like, you take something and generalize it to the maximum extent. Something that wasn't there, you've created, like, just this little tiny idea of criticism, and you've taken it and blown it way out of proportion. If you are a person of color and somebody says something negative to you because of something you said that was stupid, it doesn't mean that they are racist. You know, that is them attacking an idea of yours. They're attacking that idea because that is the core argument that person has made. All right, let's continue. Because of the constant flood of threats and harassment I received over the past 5 years simply for being a woman who argues for the basic humanity of women in a deeply misogynistic culture, I went for a very long time rarely participating in public conversations. Being a target of cyber mob harassment is a traumatizing experience. Though harassers seek to deny this, one tactic of theirs is to dismiss this very idea, to say that everyone online is treated the same. Everyone online gets called names sometimes. In fact, there is simply no comparison between being occasionally mocked or insulted online as a male anti-feminist who occupies a position of power in an overwhelmingly sexist patriarchal culture, and being a woman who receives a never-ending torrent of abuse while fighting tooth and nail to create an online culture that is a little less misogynistic and a little more equitable.
There is something called mansplaining. Have you heard about this?
We know what mansplaining is.
Mansplaining is when a man will condescendingly explain something to a woman that she already knows.
Anita, you were at the head of a panel. You had a microphone. Anything you said, probably hundreds of people in that room heard what you were saying. Although Sargon has probably a bigger audience overall on YouTube, it doesn't mean that you have any less power. In that moment, when you insulted him, you had the most power in the room. You were louder than the rest of the women on that panel. You were given the ability to say whatever you wanted, including insulting people, which was against VidCon rules, mind you. And you were fine. You were perfectly okay making those insults. Like what is, if that's not power, I don't know what is. Being able to say things without any consequence, like that is like the ultimate power right there. All right. Then we get into the next part here. It says, however, despite the torrents of harassment, I recently made a conscious decision to participate more regularly in panels and conversations at public events because I wanted to engage with people who show up in good faith to listen to our ideas. But let me make something very clear. When you have a history of harassing someone for years, and you show up in the front row at their panel with a camera and an entourage, that is not an act of good faith, to put it mildly. That is in itself an act of harassment and intimidation. He and his companions were doing this not just to me, but to other women as well. Women like Kat Black and Francesca Ramsey. So that we are all aware at VidCon that this man who has harassed us and whose hundreds of thousands of followers have attacked us online for years is here watching us. It's a deliberate act to create an environment that feels hostile, to communicate to us that if and when we dare to show up in public to express the ideas that we express online, the harassment will follow us into the physical world as well. The main thing here is, I don't think anybody really attacked anybody on the panels at Kat Black or Francesca Ramsey. Francesca Ramsey noted that she had people in the audience, but she didn't call anyone names or insult anyone, as far as I remember. If I recall, I read something on Twitter that Andy Worski, who makes a lot of videos about Francesca, and she and him have had some issues in the past, and I heard they actually kind of made up at VidCon. As far as They met and talked a lot of their issues out, and there was that there's a human connection at an event like VidCon. Whether or not there was maybe a little bit extra niceness because you don't really want to start a fight or something in real life anyways. Like you want to show people respect, which you can do in an event like VidCon. Whereas it's a little bit more difficult to do that with videos that you're trying to get attention for and trying to share news and point out the idiocracy of certain ideas. Like this article. Oh man. Like Kat Black and Francesca Ramsey did so much better than Anita at handling critique. Alright. Now, he and his followers are acting as if me publicly calling him a garbage human is the equivalent to what he has done to me. In truth, he and his followers cannot begin to imagine what it is that to have constantly beg for a fight for your basic humanity in a culture that fundamentally refuses to acknowledge it. He cannot imagine what it is to spend years and years being the target of floods of harassment and hate, and then to still go out there and keep fighting. The companion of who made the apology video I referenced earlier has tweeted that women are powerful enough to deal with things like workplace harassment to rape. What? Rape? How did rape even get involved with that? Her workplace harassment to rape. As if power is in accepting a culture in which women are second-class citizens, in which misogyny and workplace harassment and rape are the norm? F that. I'll never settle for that. You're damn right. I'm powerful. After everything I've been put through by Carl and other men just like him, I'm still powerful enough to go out there and try to change it. This whole article is complete crap. Honestly, like, this doesn't make any sense at all. She's claiming that she is like powerless, a second-class citizen, and that if she was to be raped, that it would be accepted culturally. Like, if you get raped, the person that raped you will be going to jail. Like, this makes no sense at all. Like, what is this? This is completely belittling the argument at hand. Like, there is nothing of substance here. Sargon and his friends being in the front row isn't an act of hurting or causing a hostile environment. They're there to enjoy the show. You're creating a show for these people. You're saying your ideas. They want a good front row seat so they can film it. Like Sargon wasn't even going to say anything until you called him a garbage human. He was going to sit there quietly and watch the performance. And then you had to break that. There was that kindness. He was showing you respect. He was quiet. He was just sitting there listening. He wasn't yelling and interrupting you when you said things that he didn't agree with. He was giving you 100% respect. He was treating you like a first-class citizen. All right? He was not being misogynistic. He was not being sexist. He was being completely normal person. Like, he was the same as anyone else in the back 15 rows, you know? He was there just to enjoy the show. That's what he paid for, to go to VidCon, to be able to go to that panel and enjoy it. And you abused your power, Anita. Sorry to say. I'm sure there's tons and tons of videos out there, everyone calling you out on this. But this article here is just the cherry on top of this ice cream. Like, you can't even call this. There's nothing backing any of this article. This is the entire argument you had was how you felt. This entire thing is an emotional thing where you just said you felt bad that they were in the front row. Like, if anything, that just shows that you don't have any fans that love you enough to get there early and get in the front row. Like, yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you all had a nice laugh at this, as did I. and I'll see you guys next time.